got stuck in Goshen and that was sad. The townsfolk stared hard, like their minds had been marred by life in a district so downtrodden and drab. Stranger in a worn wooden wheelchair, and when I asked if he knew of a hotel, he said, if I get your meaning, then I'm definitely leaning towards recommending the Farmer's Hotel. Place, some mother looked me in the face and whispered, please sir, not the Farmer's Hotel. Once where I was headed, she swore I would regret it. What might happen she wouldn't foretell. Vicious, wicked and pernicious. Please stay clear of that rank abattoir. And though her words alarmed me, I was stuck.
There we go.
Comedy Bears. Just going to go on for a little bit.
There we go.
Chad's ready to go, so let's do it.
We have launched.
All right, welcome. Planet Green Trees, recovering already. Episode number 382. It's called The Wrong Answer. I'm your host, Michael Corn. We're about to embark on an hour plus of some conversation about medical marijuana, cannabis reform, cannabis in Michigan, and as we do and have done for well over 382 sessions. But let me first introduce somebody who, I don't know. Let's I was thinking like one of the ways to introduce everyone would be to kind of come up with a character that we know that we could identify as somebody. You know, get that?
Is that Chad's theme
Chad
song?
That's
in his
Chad.
theme song. Yes, that's right.
Good evening. It's nice to be here.
Jim, that's as advanced as I got in my preparation for the introductions.
Yeah.
Next, please welcome
You've been
one of
busy.
the keyboards over there and the founder of Michigan Parents for Compassion. Please welcome Jim Powers.
Good evening, everybody. Happy to be here. Hope everybody's staying warm and out of the snow. It's quite a trek into the Planet Green Trees studio this evening.
Let's not underplay that. There's a tremendous commitment for the people that are here. I want to thank everyone who made the trip, and seriously, despite the safety risks that you all are obviously enduring, to meet and discuss this so very important topics that we like to do every week. Deborah Young, you are one of those people that made the trek. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate it, and thank you for being here.
Well, Jim is my designated driver, so I'm just a passenger riding and trusting Jim. I'm sure it'll be
Trust
fine.
is
It'll be fine.
misplaced.
In a way, we're all kind of passengers. Anyways, moving around the room, we've got Jeanette is here. Thank you for joining us tonight, Jeanette. Welcome to Planet Green Trees.
I'm so happy to be here with y'all.
We need happiness. We have internationally renowned attorney and guitar player. There may be some open mic space tonight since we are scheduling randomly. Please welcome Jeff Frazier.
Greetings.
Melanie is here.
Hi.
She's checking the security situation right now, it seems like, but she's
That's what I'm doing.
very good, very good. Our dear friend Amanda is present and participating tonight. Please welcome Amanda to Planet Green Trees.
Hi, everyone.
And the legend herself, I like to call her Kid Charlemagne.
Hi, everybody. I'm
Charmy
happy to be
Golson.
an occupant on Planet
close to the-
Green Trees tonight. A writer on Planet Green Trees.
An
Resident,
occupant, as if there is an occupation going
A
on.
So
passenger.
this is an actual planet where we're going.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a spacecraft that's
She's a passenger.
You're on board.
We are all
passing
on
through
board.
time. All right, so the story goes, I'm going to rant for a minute. We're taking a music break. Shri is calling back in, I understand, right?
That's what we hear.
I heard he is confirmed.
Yes, there are questions that need
There
to
are
be answered.
questions. There are questions.
He, of course, was running for governor, and he was a guest on previously. If those of you that don't know this is maybe your first time listening, we have a plethora of material where we have engaged with and interviewed the candidates who are running in the 2018 election. Amongst those, Dana Nessel. We had Andy Levin, I think, last week. Dan Haberman, who was in another district. And Sheree, of course.
We had Martin Brook.
Martin Brook on.
Yeah.
Deborah, of course, has been responsible for that. And but anyway, so we got Sheree calling in. We're taking a break, and we're gonna have some various general discussions. I do want to do a couple of shout-outs. Steve Miller will be calling in, who, of course, put all this together for us. And I usually forget to mention each week. Also, I want to give a shout-out to my dear friend Dewey and Pam, who dear friends, and
Hi, Dewey.
Hi, Dewey.
there you go.
Hi,
Hello,
Dewey.
Pam.
Shout-outs to them.
Where's he at?
Hi.
Stay
should
warm
come.
and out of the snow, please.
Jim's been wondering
Might
where
have to bail me out later of the snow.
where Alan was.
We solved the Alan mystery.
We did solve the Alan
Karen
mystery. We haven't seen him in
Sabatka.
2 weeks.
Thank
That's a
you
good point.
for
We have to give a
leaving
shout-out to our dear
messages.
friend Alan Peisner, who's at
Where are
the...
you, Alan? Why isn't
Alan,
He's at the CDEM event.
We're missing some coffee.
He's a very important person at the CDEM event,
He's
even though...
audio-visual master as well as legal master in a lot of cases.
I could argue that he's gotten a lot of his gigs, as one might say, to do his presentation as a lawyer on the medical marijuana. He got his kind of jump off from Planet Green Trees. Once we started bringing him in here, his stock went way up. He was
He did.
Yeah.
demanding
No doubt
higher
about
fees. I understand he's writing off now his haircuts and suits and
Because he's talent.
Yes.
talent. He's talent. So he's got that
you
gig
know,
going
and
on.
the
show-
white gloves and the trumpet.
Yeah, the show gave him the
It's the whole
credibility.
thing he's got.
We helped shape that because he could be somewhere playing trumpet with white gloves. He's not though. He's
Right.
doing like a gig on medical
Law.
marijuana law. Right. there you
Law
go.
gig.
We steered him the right way.
Strong.
He's allegedly listening. I don't think it's really true. He's supposed to be at the
Alan, call in.
with the lawyers who.
We need an update. But I know who is listening, and that is T-Pain. So shout out to T-Pain.
So with that being the agenda, let me rant for a couple of seconds, which has not been on the agenda for a long time, and I haven't have a lot, but I'm going to just try to keep it to a quick limited story, and it involves Alan Peisner, nonetheless.
Wow.
So if he's listening, he gets the shout out. As it goes, sometimes in any law practice, you need a village.
Yeah.
It's hard to do it alone.
You do.
And Alan's part of our village that helps things function. He's often available and sent out to stand in at times, and sometimes he does more than that. He'll actually kill the opposition. Sometimes he will.
He'll just kill him on the spot.
Yeah, he will. He and
Just slam dunk it.
Smash 'em.
and also he always comes back and is very very insightful as to what has occurred in my absence. But we had this case that we're working on, and it actually had gotten some attention because of the horrors of the forfeiture associated with it. This is our clients that were highlighted on the Channel 7 news story regarding the bills that were introduced by Representative Lucido to require a conviction in order for forfeiture to occur. In those few weeks of those hearings that took place, and the bills being introduced, the hearings taking place, there was a Channel 7 story about a week before that highlighted our clients who had been raided in both the city of Wayne. Father's house was raided, a duplex in the city of Wayne, and also for reasons that weren't really that clear, Garden City, the son's home was raided. The result of this is really a lot of the tragedy. I'm not trying to undermine the raid itself. It's awful in itself. But from there, they seized bank accounts, retirement accounts, and just took basically everything they get their hands on. And they were very forthright and very compelling, I thought, when they spoke with the newspaper or the Channel 7. But nevertheless, we got a chance to litigate one of those cases this past week in the Garden City. And the factual background is not uncommon to a lot of them that we hear. And as this investigation went forth, there's the police report, and there's, of course, the affidavit in support of the search warrant that gets them into the first location. And what we have is really an emblematic fact pattern common to what we see on a regular basis that involved anonymous tip, smell of marijuana. Officers going out and from the street are able to smell marijuana from a duplex with two different addresses. As to specifically delineate which one was never really that clear, but on smell alone, the affidavit is made and a search warrant is had. Now, we're not litigating this case yet, although we started to a little bit, and I did start to argue that smell alone can no longer be a probable cause of a crime because the state of Michigan is licensing the sale of it and collecting tax dollars for it. So if the smell of marijuana is premised on contraband, we can't say that marijuana is contraband anymore because the state's selling it, right? So that's not enough. Smell alone, I say. But that's another story for another day. And actually, the story that takes up a lot of our days. Am I right, Jeff Fraser?
It's a lot of days already.
Almost too much time.
Many days to come.
And just that one little argument is consumed a lot of, pre-discussion, I won't say. It's the biggest idea I think we talk about, of all the big ideas.
Yeah.
Or said another way, Brown must die. In the spiritual sense. So, but what happens is they raid this particular place, and there's all these allegations that there's out of compliance activity. You'll see in this, and this is not again the case that I'm really focusing on, but just as a matter of passing, you'll see things like processed marijuana, favorite of mine, processed, because that is not a term that has any meaning. Actually makes things ambiguous. Oh, what do you know? Is ambiguous good for one of the sides or the other side? But nevertheless, whatever came out of that, whatever allegations, which involved some marijuana charges, it was learned that the homeowner, or the person that was living there, father, had a son. He had a son. And his son lived over at another location. And in the power of the police, they did a really thorough investigation, did a Secretary of State check, and confirmed that his son lived at this other address. And for that reason, and all the training experience that goes into this, intellectual, academic experience of the investigation, of all those, the specific knowing almost, because the father is over here and he has a son, and his son lives over here, and his son's a caregiver or a patient. They confirmed the son lives over there, but nothing else. They got a search warrant, went to the house, and they gathered a bunch of documents. Actually, they got a document search warrant is what they got. They got a document search warrant to collect documents. And of the things that they collected were documents.
It's totally illegitimate for patients.
But nonetheless, they then got a contraband search warrant because they found some marijuana, which was an amount of marijuana that was for personal use, less than a couple ounces, no plants. But of the documents that they
house illegally,
the documents they collected were the documents by which were most outraged, which were bank accounts from retirement accounts and from earnings from direct deposits from employment and whatnot. No cash deposits, nothing. But nonetheless, it's from those documents that the bank accounts have been seized and remain seized for more than 2.5 years. So